In this video, we will draw shapes with the pen tool, which was discussed briefly when the tool panel was reviewed in Chapter 2. The pen tool is used to draw straight or curved lines. Drawing with the pen tool can be a bit tricky at first. However, the more you practice, the easier it becomes. If you're completely comfortable with your artistic ability, chances are you might choose to create your drawings by hand with the pencil tool. But for the rest of us that need a little guidance, the pen tool works great once you get the hang of it. To demonstrate, I'm first going to create a star shape with the straight lines using the pen tool. I will activate the pen tool by selecting P on my keyboard. I'm going to left-click my mouse button to make the first anchor point. It's important to make sure that you are clicking and letting go of the mouse when creating straight lines with the pen tool, unlike the clicking and dragging method we've used in the past. Next, I'm going to continue left-clicking to make the next anchor point of my shape. Notice that when I do that, I've created a straight path between 2 points. I'm going to continue to create anchor points until I've created a star shape. Once finished, I've created a new star shape, or at least a shape that has some resemblance of a star. Admittedly, I'm not a very good artist, but the good news is that I don't need to be in order to create more complex shapes in InDesign. In the previous video, you may recall that we worked with anchor points to change the appearance of our shape. Although we did this on a simple basic shape like a rectangle in the previous video, we can still work with anchor points after creating a shape ourselves with the pen tool. To do so, I'm going to activate the Direct Selection tool. With this tool selected, I can select any of the anchor points in my sad-looking star and start to move them in ways that improve the look of our shape. I'm going to continue moving these anchor points around until I feel as though my shape looks a little bit better. However, I'm not going to spend too much time on it since I'm going to be changing things up in a moment anyway. Be sure to use smart guides when necessary. Now that I have a little bit better looking star, let's say that I want to change this shape from having straight paths between the points, and I want to make the paths curved to create something that looks a little bit more like a flower. Working with the pen tool allows us to accomplish this task. The first thing I have to do, though, is use the Convert Direction Point tool that was discussed in the previous video so that we can change these straight path corner points to smooth points and add a curved path. I'm going to select Shift-C on my keyboard, regardless of whether I'm using a PC or a Mac, and then I'm going to select the first point with the Convert Direction Point tool. As soon as I do, notice that I have the ability to move the cursor to make the path between the anchor points curved. Notice the further I move, the more curved the path becomes. I'm going to keep converting the direction point of each of the anchor points for my flower, which used to be a star. Notice when I'm finished, I now have what looks to be a flower. I'm going to use the Direct Selection tool again to move some of my anchor points to even out the petals. Now, to complete the top portion of my flower, I'm going to select the Ellipse tool and draw a small circle in the middle by holding the Shift key on my keyboard and dragging the mouse to create the shape. Notice now I have a somewhat decent looking flower. Although I could spend a little more time on making my flower look perfect, what we've done here should provide you with the knowledge and skills to start making your own perfect shapes. This concludes our tutorial on drawing shapes with the pen tool. You may find the use of the pen tool frustrating at first, but if you start working with it step by step in the fashion we did in this video, then your comfort will grow more and more in no time.